PR by itself is the most amazing form of storytelling. I was left with nothing. Things will turn around and come to you. It takes time, but you have to be patient. Like, that's the only key to being mentally, I think, happy as a person.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Breaking Uneven podcast. We love to talk shop, uncover the beauty of failures, and play a few games. Today we have with us Neha Khilnani, the founder and CEO of Connecting Dots. Neha, how are you feeling today?
Amazing.
Awesome. So Neha, right out of college, you started your career in advertising and PR. You worked at a couple of companies before starting Connecting Dots,
Yes, that's true.
right? And since we're here because of Connecting Dots today, let's try and understand a little more about that.
Sure.
So we're gonna play a game to do that. It's called Twitter Bit Challenge. Twitter is known for its 280 character limit on every tweet, which takes approximately 20 seconds to speak that. So we want to transfer this challenge to you to explain to us connecting dots in 20 seconds, but we won't make it easy. We also want you to use one emoji and one hashtag. Okay. You ready?
I think.
Okay, perfect. 3, 2, 1, go.
We at Connecting Dots are here to literally connect all the missing dots, which means that under PR and marketing, anything that you need that's going to make sense for the brand, we come in as your one-stop solution.
Hashtag.
Hashtag CD.
Under 20
seconds.
seconds.
Under
Good.
20. Not bad.
Yes.
Let's start with a very simple yet vague question.
Yeah.
What drew you to the world of PR?
I'm an accidental publicist.
Perfect.
Okay. I started off with filmmaking, which has never been mentioned in my resume because I've interned for 2 years in filmmaking. And then took on advertising because I was specializing in ads in my last year of BMM and even masters for that matter. I don't know what changed. I just think that the idea of giving final changes after final changes after a final change kind of drove me a little crazy. And I was like, you know what? I want to be a value add much more than just making
An
changes to a
executor.
final artwork. Very strong with client servicing. That's something that I realized that, this is the most important part of a job. Very important. Convincing more than negotiation. Getting your word, or rather explaining what you feel about a particular subject, whether the client likes it or they don't, but there's a way to put it across. I realized that very early on because when I was interning in Dubai, my first boss back then said, "You have everything in you that a publicist needs." And I'm like, what do you mean by a publicist? Because I had a very short subject in BMM called PR. Nobody took it seriously. They say PR is only about articles, bringing articles. So when I realized the importance of this term called public relations, I said, okay, let me give it a shot. Why not? I requested my first boss to not pay me for 3 months until I learned what was PR. That's how my career began. And never looked back after that. And then from one PR job to another PR job to another one, I also realized that PR by itself is the most amazing form of storytelling.
Yeah.
And if you can do that for a brand, you're home.
So when you say you interned for 2 years,
Yeah.
it's not a very common thing.
Not
right?
at all.
Most people intern for 2 months during the summer. Or max I've seen is 6 months, 9 months if you're calling it, let's say, a graduate placement internship of sorts. Why did you intern for 2 years?
I think I was also doing it with college. I didn't want to leave the exposure. I've been very hungry to learn since I was 17, probably even earlier on. So I grew up, while I was growing up, I had a speech problem. I used to stammer. And today I'm a communication specialist, right? So nothing in my life has been even. Hence, when I read this, I said, I want to be a part of this one for sure. Thank you, Janvi. While I understood the idea that the experience I'm going to get firsthand, it's priceless. It's going to take me a long way. I decided to figure out how do I manage this while I'm still studying, because I never wanted my studies to be affected at any cost. So I continued working with Mr. Binod Pradhan. He's a very famous cinematographer of Hindi cinema, and I continued working with him for very long. 8 months into working with him after college, in the latter, I started also understanding photography, filming, corporate filming, and then 1 year I took up in Dubai. So I was also doing it in parts. Basically, 2 years of internship together for filming was something that I kind of calculated, because I just didn't want to give up on the idea of I am getting to learn something that nobody else is getting to do, and how can I let it go? So I've always been a sucker for learning. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think
That's how-
that's very important
It
throughout
is.
anyone's
It
life.
is.
Like, not even just early on, but continuous learning and wanting, or like even like the hunger to, like, I guess, want to know more is,
Absolutely.
I think, the way to grow essentially.
I'm still hungry to
Yeah.
learn, and I wait for. I am. And it's so funny because I like to hire people I can learn from.
Yeah.
I want to learn from somebody, right? I mean, at the end of it, when you're a founder, you have the last word in any case.
Yeah.
But where's the excitement if the newer generation is not bringing anything onto the table for me also to pick up and learn? I'm technically challenged. I cannot understand gadgets. So I find everybody in my office to say, hey, tell me about a new filter. So I did not know about hashtag IY, if you know, whatever. I figured that out very late. And I'm like, not bad. I at least figured it out. So yeah, it was a joke in office for the longest.
But yeah, so you entered your career in PR as an accident, and then you worked from company to company. So what was like the pivotal moment to then become an entrepreneur yourself and start connecting dots?
Sadly, again, accidental entrepreneur. Very, very. It's a lot of things have actually come my way. I'm very grateful for that. I was very happy working for someone and with somebody. I've put in everything I could for my companies wherever I have worked. And I'm very sure whenever they watch this podcast, they're going to be like, yes. So recently, I celebrated 25 years of my first company called Digital Driftwood. They invited us, and I still remember Vikram Verma, my first ever boss in advertising. Back then, I thought he ruined my life, but he made my life very, very beautiful. I have to say that. And I told him on stage, I said, thank you for giving me that opportunity and being this really, 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 hard nut to crack. And every day was a challenge for me to say, how do I even please my boss? Like, he is just impossible.
Yeah.
So when I believe, time needs time. And I was sitting for some beers with some friends one evening, and they all asked me one question that, you like lifestyle and hospitality so much, because I was working for an entertainment PR agency back then.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It
but-
is a lot of hard work, a lot of hard work. And it's sad that, entertainment and hospitality, they look so glamorous, but people like us behind the show, we've never got appreciation for it. And I don't think we were working for that appreciation, but I also feel that, once in a while, and you smile and say, hey, you know what, we can't do without you. I'm like, okay, you know what, you made my day too. So coming back to that, I was having a really relaxed evening back in 2016 when I was working, and a friend of mine just told me, hey, why are you not thinking of starting something of your own? So it's not that I had not thought of it. I had actually left a job, and I had a friend of mine, both of us together started connecting dots. We actually came up with the name called Connecting Dots, but she couldn't continue with connecting for various reasons. And entrepreneurship is not easy. It does not bring you stability at the time when you really need it. It does not pay your bills initially.
Yeah.
You need a lot of patience. You need to really be very eccentric in life. You need to. I think I had it. And she realized that, Neha, it's not meant for me, and I'm sorry, I don't think I can continue with this journey. Thankfully, it was very early on. So I just paused it. So, you know what, connecting will be a passion project at some point. Cut to 3 years down the line, or 2.5 years, another friend of mine just comes up to me and says, "Why don't you start something of your own?" So I happened to just give him the story that I had a company, I started a company called Connecting Dots, but I've never done anything about it. They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, like, listen, I think entrepreneurship is just made for you." And I'm like, "Are you crazy? I'm just so happy where I am." He like, "Give it a shot. Trust me, I don't know what happened to me that evening. Next morning, I went and spoke to my boss. I said, "Hey, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm very happy. Please don't take this. I'm very happy. But now there's a very funny bug in me that I want to explore this. Are you okay to start off a lifestyle vertical?" So I wasn't ready to like quit. I didn't want to. I'm telling you, I was very, very happy, and I think wherever I've worked, I've taken that company to be mine. And I think that's why I've sustained for so long. And hence, all my ex bosses are in very good terms with me. And in fact, one of them just came in last week to like come and chill and have some tequila with us. So when I spoke to him about this, and he was just like, "I don't know lifestyle, Neha." I said, "Okay, then I have to quit." And that's when the journey actually of connecting began. It was tough, guys. I mean, out there, whoever's thinking of starting a journey, until and unless you're not really crack and you have that bandwidth to be super patient for 2 to 3 years to see the results in front of you, do not become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks so wow. No. I realized how many departments I had to take care of because that department was me.
Yeah.
So mentally, I had to be so stable. I could not afford a day where I was wired. So every day was a process of rewiring and resetting, rewiring and resetting. So yeah, that's how connecting started.
Yeah.
We have 2 birthdays though. We
The
are
initial
Yeah.
funny.
one.
No, I mean, I actually have 2 birthdays. I'm not counting the freelance 3 months. When I gave up my job and I told my boss that I want to start lifestyle, the next day, that was 2016 mid or something, I registered the company. But 2018, it took me 2 years to call it an agency. 2 years. 2018, 18th March is where we celebrate our birthday. So it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
2 years.
it is.
And I agree, like patience is a very important skill to have. And I think, entrepreneurship overall really tests your patience because it's
It's like how, if you've ever been to a hospitality university, have you heard of IHM,
Yeah.
Aurangabad? So my brother was studying there and he's younger to me. When I went to drop him for the orientation, the dean said a very beautiful line saying, "Guys," and to the parents, "you give us your boys, we give you men back," and I feel that is entrepreneurship. It just changes you overnight. You suddenly grow up,
yeah.
and you grow up to be very accountable and responsible. You suddenly have your terminology changes. You start understanding numbers better than before. You take keen interest in personal finance. You take keen interest in even as simple as operations. So I feel like every department looks up to you for a solution. So I have to keep filling in that energy in me to be the solution provider first to my team, my clients who trust us. And that's when I think I can take a breather towards the end of the day saying, "Okay, now I'm done. Like now I'm switched off."
Yeah. You mentioned that like you had a stammer at one point and now
For the longest, yeah.
your entire company is based on communication. So I guess in a way, like what was the what gave you the confidence to start something or to get into the industry? Or also like what changed? Like how did you get over like the stammer?
When I was born, my mom told me that I had some health problems. I couldn't hear from 1 year. I had stammering just came about. I don't know how. I have never really actually understood the major reason, but a lot of doctors back then said that it's got to do with emotions and suppression of emotions. Also, different reasons for stammering. Everybody would have their own reason. My parents and my family, they never made it feel like it's abnormal
Yeah.
or there's something wrong with the child. So I actually grew up thinking this is so normal. Maybe kids do stammer. So my mother had to take me for speech therapy. And back then, I'm talking about when I was probably 7, 8, there were not many institutions who were specialized for speech therapy, right? So there was a dumb and deaf institution at Reclamation. I mean, now that I think about it, I'm like, I don't know how my mom did this. Imagine a mom to take her child, a normal child, to a dumb and deaf institution for speech therapy. That would have broken her. I'm very sure of it.
Yeah.
But she never showed it to me. It was a very normal, ongoing process called work in progress. And I have been born and brought up with that understanding of you need to be you. So you know who you are and what you bring onto the table, very simple, but work on yourself. Everything doesn't come on a platter, even if you come from a business family, because my fathers taught me to create my own identity first. And my identity was who I wanted to be, who I am as a person. I'm here. It took me a long time, and I was standing till I was in my 10th grade, maybe a little more. But that's when you realize that this cannot go on longer. I need to fix this. So I'm also somebody who likes to fix a lot of problems rather than just having loose ends. So I think, part of my nature was just out there as well, very strongly to like cure myself first before I go out in the world and say, hey, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then you say that, talking about being you and let's say slowly building up, but always having the hunger to learn, knowing who you are. And I guess that's why you also spoke to your boss about starting a lifestyle vertical before just being like, hey, you know what, I'm off, I'm going to do my own thing.
True.
Kind of like a test case, right? Am I actually going to be able to do this?
True.
So what was the, event or let's say client or something, what was it that made you finally say that, okay, you know what, I did this lifestyle vertical, now I'm fit and equipped to start my own thing?
The lifestyle vertical didn't happen.
The lifestyle
she quit.
vertical didn't start, right? Because he just didn't want to put his hands into something that he didn't know.
Okay.
So that's when I quit to start.
Oh, you quit and registered?
Then I registered.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
fine,
but
fine.
even for that, the reason I said if mid 2016 I registered, I quit, I'm not going to lie. First 2 years, it was tough because a lot of people take you as a freelancer.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them because I didn't have a team. I was figuring out my life. One evening, I just got very inspired by that one friendly talk that I had. And I'm like, here I am. And this is the mistake I think most of the entrepreneurs do make. I would call it a mistake today. But back then, it was absolutely normal and I was so passionate. I am a very passionate person by nature. If I like something, I will give it my 300%, not even 100%. And then I'll make sure I get into the detailing of things, right? So I started my company I've taken up some really funny brands just to sustain. I don't know how I have. From dealing with like the best of the best in the industry, when you were left by yourself, you actually realize your worth and your patience, your tolerant power much more than ever. So that journey took me 1.5 years to then, like 2018, when I'm saying, I was left with nothing. I got cheated with some clients. My paperwork was haywire. I got cheated by my own people. I was out for a trip in 2017 December. I got back in Jan to just realize I have no clients left, whatever little that I was building. So that hits you, and then you're like, okay, I've risen from the ashes. I have nothing to lose anymore. I've done everything I could. And my mom just told me, listen, you've built this, you'll rebuild it. It's okay. Rather than being so harsh on yourself, think about how do you want to rebuild what you want. Then I get a call that an international chef is looking out for a PR person. Would you be interested? And I'm like, hell yeah. I mean, I have nothing to do. I'm sitting at home idle. I couldn't tell the client back then.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, sure. She's like, but there are a few conditions. And she's met like the top 6 agencies of Bombay. I said, and she's still not happy? She's like, no. I said, okay, cool. I'll just go have coffee and I'll chill. I mean, literally, this was my thought process. So we met up in Bandra. She had like around a half an hour time gap just with me because she had to catch a flight. She sat with me for 2 hours. And her only condition back then was, no matter what you do, if we work together for however, till whenever we do, you cannot give the work to any executive junior till I'm with you. I said, yeah. In my mind, I'm like, baby, I have nobody. Like, I'm all yours, like, I'm here for you. I had not even thought about restarting to a level where I'll be bloody serious about this business now. And 18 March, I meet her. And that's why I call that Connecting's birthday. I meet her, and 2 days she signs me up. And on the 6th day, her first article is out, which is a double spread article in Midday, talking about her journey. And she happens to be none other than Chef Sarah Todd. And she met other agencies. She met everybody. And we are still with her. And I don't have a junior executive on her project. I still have seniors working. But I'm always a call away for her. So that's how the journey of Connecting actually started.
So that pretty much gave you the, not validation to start your business, but to restart your business.
Validation to now say, I did not make a mistake. It's fine.
Yeah.
These things happen. So that was the validation I got out of it. But I'm smiling about it today. I've cried and thought that I was insane to do something like this. Because see, any business, right? You need to let it grow. It's like any relation. Your first year will be tough. When you sustain the first year is where you know, okay, how do you want to now mold the relation? In my case, I gave 1.5 years to figure, am I even doing the right thing? Like, is this is this the business I want to marry? For instance, by the time I could get feelings for it, I got cheated. And then I'm like, oh God, I just started loving you. And now what do I do? So this is exactly how I faced it. And then Sarah came to my rescue. And I think if she's going to see this podcast, she's going to actually know the story behind why I was so happy saying, yeah, I'll be with you. So when she came in, it just made me feel that you've gone and met 6 other agencies and already renowned ones. They're there. You saw something in me. So I've never, I believe in one, don't lose your spark. Don't lose who you are. Things will turn around and come to you. It takes time, but you have to be patient. Like, that's the only key to being mentally, I think, happy as a person.
So when you restarted then, I'm assuming slowly you again built out a team, built out a client pipeline, etc.
Yeah.
But tell us, let's say 3 things that you had decided that this is what I'm not going to let happen again. What were the 3 things that you had learned from your previous 1.5 years that you were like, okay, this is something I'm going to be very careful with now?
Contracts, legal team, very strong. It made me realize it was a slap on my face. So I was like, okay, I don't want to be slapped again, for sure. Not that we don't make mistakes today. People still make mistakes, but we are more careful. We're more aware.
Yeah.
We are in the moment saying that I'm going to take care of this. So my back end is very strong with legal. Then I realized also that when I do for my team, somehow I can't treat them as employees. I need stakeholders. I need people who have a vision as well. And if they don't have a vision, then understand my vision. Either ways it works. But I only wanted a team, and I always say this even to my own team, that I want you to take accountability. It is so important in life. Yeah. Otherwise, work, you have zillions to do. Yeah? You can find interns after interns to do the work. You need great humans who add a vibe, who add a dash of their madness to a brand. So you need humans to work. We are in the business of people.
Yeah.
So you need great people to work with. And this is the second learning that, I had actually kind of decided.
Yeah.
And the third one was that I will let go of the money if the brand is very credible. When I say let go of the money, as in work on a smaller retainer. But I'm very sure I will take 10 years to build Connecting, to be on the map, both nationally and internationally. We are on our 6.5 year.
Nice.
I'm closer to my goal.
I think there's little credit that people give to taking on a small retainer, because that's kind of like your own investment into your brand. Like tomorrow, if you're working with a really large company and you have to do a smaller retainer to make that happen, it's like your own marketing PR expense, right?
Honestly, I think I take it in a very different way. When I say smaller retainer, which I would never charge otherwise, because you're building a company, you also want to set some boundaries,
Yep.
Yeah.
right? Also because our expenditure is no less. It is crazy. I mean, when I wake up at the end of the month, I'm like, oh God, I want to sleep again. It's like it's this stuff. But I'll tell you my reason of saying this, which I think a lot of fellow agency founders will relate to it. Not many talk about it. Sadly, I don't know why. Um, you know, with credible brands, the learning that my team gets while they're working on it, it's unbelievable. It motivates them to get onto that stature quickly rather than them taking their own sweet time, probably with some people. So I realized this is going to be working more as a workshop in my mind to take up a credible brand at a smaller retainer that I'm getting for the investment of the time that we put in the work that we show, but mainly more like a learning. And we tend to forget this when you are building a brand year on year, year on year, year on year. You feel that everything is about the monetary value that you bring onto the table. But who said that return, and an ROI is every time counted only as money coming out
Yeah.
of the business? That would be my ROI, the learning that my team gets. So that's a kind of a debate that I always have in my mind. And then I catch hold of my senior most management to say, what do you think? Want to take it up? If you see that excitement on that person's face saying, yes, let's do it, I'm not going to think about it then.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think, like you said, like sometimes it's not about the money, but it's about the learnings that you get from it and the excitement that comes. Because, like, I think in this day and age, like brand value holds a lot of weightage. So it's like, okay, even for people that are part of your team working on a credible brand, that adds a lot more weightage to them and excitement to them for them to try and make a difference for that brand. So I think it helps push you further
Absolutely.
as
So
well.
there's a line that I always use. We build brands that matter,
Yeah.
right? It does not mean that the others that who come to us and we unfortunately can't work with them for some or the other reason, that they are not credible. But in a situation like this, money is very important.
Yeah.
I'll be foolish as a founder to say money is not important, right? Or I'll be lying rather. Money is very important. But this one off experience, exactly like how you put it across, it's where my brand value also increases.
Yeah.
So that's when I look at what do I want to choose, value, the brand value, or just the money coming in as a retainer. Hence, for some of my brands, very few that is,
Yeah.
I choose the brand value to be added on
Yeah.
on a higher, pedestal.
No, for sure. So, what would be like 3 things in a company that like are red flags that would deter you from working with them?
If I've not heard great reviews, or so we do a dipstick, we also do our due diligence about brands and people behind the brand. If I don't get to hear good things about the people, it's my first red flag. Second, if they're bad paymasters, if the entire market is talking about it,
Yep.
second red flag.
And that's a very common thing. Like you can find out very quickly whether a company is good with
Yes.
payments or not. Yeah.
Third is if they don't have a clear vision about their own product, that means I am going to be sitting and mothering them about what they have to do with their vision. My time involvement today, for me, time is money today. And it
Yeah.
is so valuable that I have very limited slots available for something like this. So these are the 3 major concerns. But there is also a fourth one, which talks about the product not being strong. So if I feel that the product is, it could be in this case a service or a product, if it's nothing exciting, if it's still the usual, do I want the usual? I can't do mediocre.
Yeah, also, you have to believe in it to like be able to
Absolutely,
find those
that's a
dots.
given. See, that's a given for me. If I don't believe in it, or if my senior management also doesn't believe in it, there is no point we doing anything for them, right? But I'm saying that the product has to stand out by itself, because I can't change the business orientation of that brand. I can't. I am yet your media partner. I don't like to call myself an agency. I am your partner. And I will be your partner in good times and bad times. And we've done that. We've proven ourselves all the time. COVID, all my brands were facing an issue. We ourselves understood there were credit periods for more than probably 120 days. We've understood that. So when we need to be your partner, we are your partners.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Very interesting. And I think a lot of times when you're starting out, and I think even you mentioned this, that you just end up saying yes to a lot of brands just to keep afloat.
Initially, yeah.
So it's interesting to know that once you've grown and once you're more stable, then like what are you saying no to? Because that's equally important than what you're saying yes to.
Absolutely.
But yeah, overall, through your entire experience and of Connecting Dots and beyond, what has been your favorite, I guess, PR event that you've hosted?
There've been so many. There've been so many. Honestly, when you till date, I'm like this 17-year-old child within me that just wakes up to see a coverage of that my team's cracked for my brand. I still feel very happy. I think they've seen it. They know it. I mean, they come to office to see my grumpy face at times. Like Mondays are like the worst days for me. It's because there's everything on my head, right? And I'm a very planned person at work. Personal life, I could chill over beers and not care about what's happening. But at work, work is worship for me.
Yeah.
It is my small temple. Please come to our office. You'll see.
Yeah.
It is literally that vibe that you'll be like, okay, it's organized, right? So for me, a lot of these things, coverages, PR appreciation, or rather when I say from a brand or my journalist today as well, matters a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just the happiest to see when my team has to smile to say, we have a very, very sweet journalist called Nasreen. She's from Sunday Midday. She randomly just called me. She said, your team's been fab, man. And I'm like, thank you. Then there's Samreen from Travel and Leisure right now. All these friends, right? They'll just call up and say, we got the perfect pitch. I have to ask your team again for something. I'm like, wow. So PR campaigns versus just the division of PR, there's a lot more to public relation, like I said. So the pre-planning excites me the most.
Okay.
Excites me the most because that's when you can actually have your vision for the brand out there.
Yeah.
And it is the most challenging period because every day is an ASAP mode day for a client, right? We need it ASAP. I'm sure I'm going to actually have a meme on that very soon because by the time the ASAP is over, it's been 3 months and we're still figuring it. So I'm like, you know what? Give us realistic deadlines. We can do much better rather than just creating unwanted pressure.
Yeah.
So I have started now creating that zone even with my clients that, listen, let's be very honest and real. Give me the real scenario and I'm here to cater to your problems and your concerns. So now they start actually reciprocating in that way. Okay, we have 3 months in hand. I'm like, there, thank you. So these are smaller wins. I believe in the smaller wins of these campaigns. But if I have to give you something very, very specific, we did a Lonely Planet and Sarah Todd campaign in 2018, where we took Lonely Planet to Goa. And they saw Goa via Sarah's lens. So we did like 11 to 12 signature spots. We covered this entire thing. It was an 11-pager article on Lonely Planet India. We've done Narathai recently with SAS from Ladakh. The brand had come down. My team did a fabulous job in brand building, in public relations, even marketing that. It was really, really good. We've done, there's this Alcobev company, if you've heard of Monica Alcobev. So they are the ones who distribute 1800 tequila, Bushmilk.
Okay.
So when I met them back in 2020, 2021, Mr. Kunal Patel, who's the founder, there was not one article on him. And he's like, yeah, the industry doesn't know me. And we need to do something about this. I'm like, okay, Kunal, cool. And he's a very sweet guy, right? He says, sure, why not? We sat down together to create a strategy. It was just PR-led. And today, you have to Google him to know who he is, maybe. And you'll find zillion articles. We gave in 2 years of our life with Monica. And I'm just very happy to see their growth today. We launched Dhoni Entertainment Production House with Mahi and Sakshi, but we only launched a production house. But that experience of working with that man and his team is fabulous. His team is fabulous. I have never seen a more possessive team, a more caring team than what I've seen for Mr. Mahendra Singh Dhoni. You have to meet that team more than the man, I feel.
Yeah,
This
okay.
is where you understand the quality of leadership that he carries. So there's Vikas, there's Priyanshu, there is Shravan, all these guys who are still working with him. They've been with him forever. So, it makes a lot of difference when you have a very, very polite leader and then a very dedicated team working for you. It just says volumes about who you are.
So you said Sarator is still with Connecting
Yes.
Dots, right? It's been a long time. It's been, what, 6
Yeah.
years now?
Yeah.
So beyond, and this in general, I think there's a lot more to be said about longer relationships than doing good work together. Right? Of course, doing good work together is a strong part of maintaining a
Absolutely,
long
yeah.
relationship. But even beyond that, I'm sure there's factors that contribute to Sarah still being with Connecting Dots. Can you
Yes.
tell us one or two of those things and how you?
She loves my jokes. I'm joking. Sarah and I I feel we met at a time where we both needed each other without saying it. And that's been the secret to a great relation. Because when you do not talk about, oh, I did this for you,
Yeah.
that language is never spoken about in any relation. You never have to define that relation because it's so solid that an outsider can see it while you can already feel it. With Sarah, it is much more than just work. She trusted me and I trusted her. She trusted me at a time where probably nobody else was ready to bet, on me without she knowing it. Right? I wanted to maintain the trust because I knew the reality of what I was facing. And I never wanted to let her down. So it's just a part of the nature that comes about. And I like to stick to commitments. I'm not somebody who's going to faff. I can't. I've never learned it. I have very strong, genuine men around me, like my brother, my dad. We know what a word means, so we stick by it. And as a family, we are a staunch believer of our commitment.
So our next game is 2 truths and 1 lie. So the idea is you give us 3 statements from which 2 are true and 1 is a lie. It can be anything from your personal journey, professional journey. And then Anuj and I have to guess which one is the lie.
I burnt my thigh while I was sipping on tea. Love Bollywood music, and after 5 tequilas, it's different. And PR is only about media coverages.
The lie is the third one. What's yours?
I mean, obviously,
Oh.
yeah, so much more than just media coverage.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of a lie.
No, this
Shit.
was very bad, Neha. This was too
We could do a retake in like 10 minutes. I'll just start thinking about this for sure. Then you add that segment there.
And let's move on to our next game.
Sure.
So this one's called Red Flags. Here we're going to give you 3 situations. In each situation, there are 2 things that are going great and 1 that's not so great. We've of course adapted these for you. You have to choose which of these situations you'd rather be in. So I'm going to read them out and then we'll give it to you to refer to. So situation 1 is Connecting Dots has over 100 members working on the team. Connecting Dots, recent PR campaigns have received excellent media coverage and have been praised for their creativity and impact. But there is a noticeable drop in client retention rates. So that's situation 1. Situation 2 is your revenues are growing massively year on year. You personally have great work-life balance, but your project deadlines are often missed and there are frequent miscommunications between your team and the client. And then situation 3 is Connecting Dots has won several industry awards, boosting its reputation and credibility in the market. You are now getting international clients, but several key team members have left recently, citing burnout and lack of growth opportunities as their reasons for leaving.
I'm okay with, like I told you, the first point that we discussed. I'm okay for client retainer fee to be less at times. But if I see growth in overall, otherwise the brand connecting, increasing, it's better. I mean, that would be my take. This is going to be any day better then having your people leave you because of burnt out situations or miscommunication. No. We are a communication agency. I'm sorry that I can't afford that. That's gonna be very, very contradictory to what I'm actually proposing.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first situation.
Nice. So yeah, moving on to our final segment, which is the rapid fire. So, how many all-nighters have you pulled in the last year?
How many?
All-nighters have you pulled in the last year?
Countless.
Okay. How many days of leave have you taken in the last year?
20.
What is the most jugaadu thing you've done for your business?
Every day, something or the other. Can't speak about the jugaadu bit here, man. It's podcast. When you come to office, I'll give you everything in writing. Keep it with you as a love letter. I'll give it to you.
Done. Your favorite client till date?
I love everybody from my restaurant business. Yeah, they're such hard workers. Poor guys work and then they drink. Then again they work. Then again they drink. It's a very tough cycle to maintain. They also go to the gym. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah.
Your most exciting event till date?
There are quite a few. There are really quite a few. It's so hard to pinpoint, but
Okay, in the last year, let's say. Like a more recent
Or
one.
last 6 months also.
Yeah, 6 months.
I think Saas and Nara was the last one that it was amazing.
Okay.
Meeting that lady from Ladakh, where she was just like, and it's veg food
Yeah.
from Ladakh. And I'm like, why are you hidden there? What were you doing? She's like, I was waiting for you to call us. I said, here we are. Which was really very interactive. Oh yeah, sorry, one more. The recent one was, we did a campaign with Rian George for our hotel in Udaipur with Ananta. And he took 6 of his influencers, and today all those influencers have become friends because we chill together. I love it. I just love the idea when you just get onto a friendly zone with your alliances or
Yeah.
collaborators. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did you ever question whether it was worth it? Like worth starting Connecting
Every
Dots?
day, every minute, till date.
Your proudest moment with Connecting Dots?
When my team has to and thinks that they're capable of even nominating themselves for a campaign and an award, we know we're doing something right.
The weirdest place from where you have worked?
Weirdest. No, I've been very lucky that way. But yeah, Dubai was also a weird experience with racism. Very, very, very weird in that sense.
Yeah.
But my workplace was fine because I was working with some really cool Pakistanis and I got to learn from a Pakistani.
What was your biggest sacrifice to make Connecting Dots possible?
No personal life. Graying too early. Forgetting the fact that it's called compromise.
Yeah.
I just took it as how it's supposed to be. Not spending and splurging on things where I thought I was young, very young, to think that I just wanted, I'll take it.
Yeah.
No, so personal. Everything more personal.
What was the one time you felt like you let Connecting Dots down?
Maybe the wrong hires.
Okay. Yeah,
Very
fair.
important play. Very, very. When you feel cheated because they show something and they are something else. Experience of life, right? So yeah, wrong hires probably.
Which hobby of yours did your work kill?
A lot of it, and it brought out some other hobbies that I didn't even know I had it in me, man. Crazy, like really crazy. Quite a few. I stopped my sports for a while. Travel took a pause for the longest, and I've just restarted again in the last 3 years now. It's not going to take a pause. Every year I have my annual time. I switch off. I just switch
That's
off.
good.
I have
Healthy,
to.
yeah.
I have to. I'm a traveler by nature. I think my best ideas have come about when I'm by myself alone, traveling randomly only in Europe. There's something about Europe and
Yeah.
me. We connect on different stages. I have got the best bar ideas from Prague. I have got the best destination wedding ideas in London. Recently, I did my first solo trip in Spain and Portugal. I came back refreshed with such ideas that I was actually distributing those ideas to my clients. Like, take it.
Yeah.
Like just take it and let's execute this. And it happens to me every time I travel.
Nice.
But I need to be by myself, like just off.
Yeah. I think it's also healthy, like in life, to
Very,
take that little break.
very.
For sure. Books or podcasts?
More of books today, but business books.
Nice. iPad or notebook?
Notebook.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Now both.
And your favorite social media platform?
Insta.
Nice. Okay. So that concludes the rapid fire segment, almost bringing us to the end of the podcast. We ask every guest to ask our next guest a question. So we'll first show you.
The previous question.
Yeah, the previous guest.
You have to just hit play.
What are the 3 most interesting people you have come across, and what have they taught you?
I'll start off with dad first. It's funny, but it's I don't know what that man is all about, man. He is something else. My brother Karan and I think we're a reflection of his business values. He taught me the story of Arjun, when he used to, like in Mahabharata, when he has the bow and arrow and he's supposed to aim at something, right? He's like, always go for the bird's eye. That's how bullseye came about. So he's taught me that, like, focus, just one thing, focus and get it. He's one. Never seen him cheat his workers, laborers. Salary was always on time. And he was dealing with like 400 people under him, right? It's a massive place to deal with. He has always removed time for family. Always removed time. As a child, we used to have an atlas book, Karan and I, and used to be like, pick the place you want to go to next. My mom used to cheat because we were learning, geography was very weak when we were kids, right? So she used to point our finger to only that destination that we were being taught about in school, but I still got to see it. So that's the kind of man I have seen growing up, to be like, hey, you know what? If I can be 1% of you, I'm home. Then turns out to be my brother at a very early age. If you've heard of brands like Elephant & Co. in Pune and Goa, Cobbler & Crew, it's all by him. He's the founder. He was just 23 when he had the idea. 24, he executed it, and he's 32 today. And
Wow. Is he
that
Mumbai
man,
based?
we are from Bombay. He is in Pune and Goa. He's married to Vijeta. She's another, I don't know, man. She's a powerhouse. So both of them are like really a very strong couple with very strong vision, but different approaches for work. But I get to learn a lot from Karan about patience, operations, management. That man is dealing with around 350 staff members of his, with managers, with everybody, and still acing the game. No matter how tough it is, he would be crying alone, I'm very sure of it. But he is always smiling and saying it is okay. And third would be a very dear friend of mine, Rakhi Mehta. She's a wellness entrepreneur. You'll meet her and you'll know that she's doing something in wellness for sure. She doesn't look her age at all. She has in fact been very crystal clear about vision. So I've been surrounded by really very inspiring, very passionate people. I can go on with the list. I also have Arnesh Ghosh, who's an ex-Man's World editor, and today he is marketing consultant to Connecting Dots, with probably 16 plus years of his experience. I just had to tell him, hey, I need help. I'll be there. So I believe that we do something right when you're just being yourself, that people know who you are, and then they want to work with you because of who you are, not because of what the company is making. So I've been very lucky to have some really amazing people around me.
Nice.
Yes.
But yeah, that concludes the podcast. Do you have another two?
No, I'm still blank.
We can end
I'm still blank.
No, but thank you so much for coming
Thank
and
you,
giving
guys.
us your
It's been
time.
actually amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
enjoyed the
I loved it.
conversation.